We're talking Ball State. Don Shondell and Ray McCallum talking Ball State. Nate Davis and Bonzi Wells. Schumann, Bell Tower, and Worthen. Fans all over from Muncie to Berlin. Getting Concannons, Carters, and Greeks.
All right, everybody out there in Cardinal land, we are on live right now. I'm hearing some extra background noise here, though. I got to get rid of that. Where is that coming from? Not sure what's happening here. Hold on one second, guys. Are you guys hearing that as well?
No.
I'm all good on my end.
You're all good on your end? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure why that's... What is happening here? Oh, I know what the problem is. Okay, sorry about that, everybody. I know what the problem is. Okay, let's try that again. Welcome to a live Victory Sunday edition of Ball State of the Union, your number one Ball State football podcast. By the fans, for the fans. We're talking current headlines, exclusive interviews with Cardinal athletes and coaches, and fun, off-the-wall debates you won't hear anywhere else. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on all of your favorite social media platforms. And as always, remember, when you hear that wonderful song, we're about to be talking Ball State. So as you just saw, we are indeed live. There are some technical difficulties that come with being live. I had the YouTube page already pulled up on my computer, so that's where that was coming from. But we are live on YouTube. We are live on Instagram. We are live on X. We got a cat in the screen right now. And any fans out there, if you're listening, if you're a fan of the show, if you're a fan of what you saw yesterday, if you're a fan of Colin's cat right there, be sure to put your comments in the chat wherever you're watching the show at. And we will get to all those at the end of the game. So before we jump into our impressions from that first win of the 2025 Ball State football season, the first win of the Coach Uromovich era, we got a little business to handle here. Again, Ball State of the Union, as always, is partnering with the Shop Indy. That's theshopindy.com. And you can use the code BSUnion at checkout, and you're going to get free shipping on your order. So you can order one thing, you can order 100 things. If you use that code BSUnion, you're going to get free shipping. So if you need any new Ball State apparel out there, again, to celebrate on this Victory Sunday, be sure to go to theshopindy.com and use that code BSUnion. So, boys, crazy game yesterday. Crazy game, but a win. A win has fallen on our schedule for this year now. So, Willie, I'll start with you. What are kind of your first initial thoughts, takeaways from that win against New Hampshire yesterday?
It was a tough, grinded out game that we needed. It definitely tested our guys' mental fatigue. It was a lot of back and forth going on, and the weather was just crazy. From what I heard, it was raining, it was windy, it was sunny. It was all the emotions of the weather played a factor, and some of the muffed play. And I think the passing game we only had over 100 yards, but the run game got going strong early. Over 300 yards rushing, total of over 400 yards offense, which was really impressive just to see the run game, the O-line get going, and seeing Quan strike off two, not one, but two touchdowns, one for 45 and the other one for 43. Sorry, Quan, 43. But it was really impressive to see the run game going, and it gives a lot of hope going forward that we got to be able to establish the run if we want to be successful. So it was really good to see those things happen. Got to eliminate the mistakes, the mental errors always, but it was a great first win for Coach U at the Shoe. 1-0 at the Shoe. Got to love it. Congrats, Ball State. Way to get it done.
Yeah, so Willie, you were in a kind of unique situation like these guys were yesterday, where you had a first-year head coach at Ball State. What's kind of the thought process going into that game? Obviously, when you guys had Coach Limbo, you won the first game, so you didn't have these other 2 weeks that you had to worry about. But is there any extra juice going into these games, knowing like, hey, let's get this guy his first win. We got to get these fans on his side. Is that something different going into a game like yesterday?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, the first one at home, that just makes it even more special. For Limbo, we were prepared. We had the guys. I think it was just always that new group with a new head coach, just trying to gel together, find that chemistry, and really just pulling a tough one out. I think our tough game was Buffalo, if I remember correctly. We went all the way down to the wire and won on a quick slant to yours truly. And, caught the game-winning touchdown. That was just the one game that kind of got us rolling. And it's always a great feeling to get your head coach that first win. It's just like takes the weight off his shoulders type of deal. Um, it's just always nice to get that 1-0 feeling every week. So, like I said, congrats to the guys. Just got to keep it rolling from here. Got to stack these, man. Stack them.
Yeah, for sure. Colin, what are your initial takeaways from the game yesterday?
Yeah, I agree with everything Willie said. Maybe just something to add on there is it felt like a pretty total team effort. Kiael Kelly had some big plays. I think he had 3 total touchdowns. Qua Ashley had a huge game, 3 total touchdowns as well. 1 through the air. I think that's how that happened. And yeah, Nathan Vorez off the D line, he looked incredible. There was a couple people flying around on the defensive side. I thought Ashton Whitner again was such a sure tackler, especially in the open field. There's a couple times there was a tackle that had to be made or there was going to be problems, and he made that tackle. So that was good to see. Dewan Eccles, again, continues to flash for me. There was a play, I think the snap was high. Dewan Eccles came off that edge and popped him. So that was yeah, there was a lot of guys that stood out, and I think that's a good sign. You want to see that, especially early. And this was a game that we had to win. It cooled the seat a little bit, I think, for potentially upset fans. Everybody should, understand now that we won the games we were supposed to win. We did lose the 2P4 games, but the whole season is ahead of us. Like Kiael Kelly said, it's really hard to win at this level, and I'm just glad we got this W.
Yeah, so for everyone out there, again, if for some reason you missed it, Ball State wins their first game of the Coach Iramovich era yesterday against New Hampshire, 34-29. Kiael Kelly, name we just mentioned, 9 of 15, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and then 13 rushes, 101 yards, and 1 touchdown on the ground. Qua Ashley, 12 carries, 154 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, 2 catches, 33 yards, 1 touchdown through the air. And Nathan Voorhees, 5 total tackles, 1.5 sacks, and 2.5 tackles for a loss. So some big momentum swings yesterday. It was really kind of like people were punching back, punching forth. Ball State would deliver a punch, New Hampshire would deliver a punch, just kind of go back and forth. Colin, let's start. We'll go back to you here real quick. What are some of the big momentum swings that stood out to you throughout the game yesterday? There was a bunch of them, but what are maybe some of the key ones that stick out?
I mean, immediately we've got to talk about our very first drive, the first drive of the game. Ball State has a 3-and-out. We go to punt it. The punt is blocked, and they return it for a touchdown. That's a huge momentum drive or a momentum play. It immediately put us behind the 8 ball. We're down 7-0 with like a minute and a half into the game. So that was the very first momentum swinging play, John.
Willie, what about you?
I think for me, obviously, like Colin said, the punt block was huge. It kind of put us in a hole early. But I think the big run by Quan really set off the game, just to get us back going. Actually, it was Kiael Kelly's 40-yard touchdown that really got it going. Just the way he was able to keep his feet alive, he bounced it and then took it to the house. So I think those 2 runs really sparked the game for the offense. Just to be able to come back and respond to something like that, poor execution by the punt team, not really getting their guys and blocking them up front as they see them. But just for the guys, the way they responded, that was important to me because when you go down like that early, it could be a huge emotional swing, let alone momentum swing. So I'm just glad to see that happen and those guys really take over when they had to.
Yeah, so Willie, we've seen now two of these first 3 weeks between Purdue and New Hampshire, this team get off to a really bad slow start. When you guys come in and watch tape early this week, how does that get fixed? How is that something that you don't become a habitual, team that gets off to really bad starts? What do the coaches staff, what do the players tell you guys to kind of get out of that rut that you're in?
I think first of all, comes down to like having your first 15 plays. Any play caller has a first 15 plays that are scripted, right? You don't run these plays all week. These plays have been hitting all week, whether it's run game, pass game, screens. You got 15 plays that guys know off the back of their head. They know how to execute it. They know what the looks they're looking for. So that's just a lot of film study through the week, a lot of preparation. And I think once our team especially, get in the rhythm of being in the first 15 and being able to execute and going down the field and having that confidence, that will get us out of this rut because right now it just looks like Like we're calling plays just to see if it works. We're letting the teams come to us and attack us instead of us attacking them. I really want to just see us really throw the first punch in these first drives because that's what it's really going to take to tell teams, hey, we're coming to play. We're not really going to take anything and respond. We're just going to attack, attack, attack. And I think a lot of that has to do with the first 15 plays or whether it's 10 plays that Kyle Kelly likes, run game that you've run all week that you've had success with. So it's really just getting in the comfort mode for Kelly to where when he sees these plays, he knows exactly what he's looking for. He knows exactly where to go, and that'll kind of get us in a rhythm of how coaches see what guys respond to, and it's just a week to week thing, man. It's something to build on, but like you said, it's been 2 weeks out of the three. We kind of started slow, and that's hard for a defense too. It's like when you're in a bad position like that, it puts more pressure on the defense too.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, it's tough, especially when it appears we're going to be a run-heavy team. You definitely don't want to get down behind early because those are going to be harder holes that you're going to have to dig out. And again, like you said, you're going to put the defense in some tough situations, which happened yesterday. And credit to them. You might look at that score sheet and say, "Oh man, we gave up 29 points," but the defense really held strong at times when we really needed them to.
Absolutely.
Some other momentum big plays that I had. If you guys want to kind of touch on any of these, you can, or we can kind of break into them a little bit later. But yeah, so I had the block punt as well. Obviously, that's a very obvious one, I think. Kiael Kelly's touchdown run, the first touchdown of the season for the Ball State Cardinals. I put it on Twitter. I said, ladies and gentlemen, the Ball State Cardinals have finally scored a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
The muff punt, again, I think we'll get into special teams here in a little bit, but followed with the muff punt. Ball State's defense on that really, really short field. I think they were on maybe the 5-yard line, holding them to no points. Qua Ashley's second touchdown to go up, put him up by 13. And then unfortunately, New Hampshire's safety toward the end of the game that really kind of sparked life into them when they were down. I don't know what they were down at that point, but they really, really kind of sparked life into them. So,
Yeah,
if
John,
you guys have any comments on any of those, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, let me go into that. So with the team in general relied heavily on the offense just to save us when they put us in, a ton of bad positions. You spoke about some of them, John, but obviously the black punt for a TD. The overall theme of the game is we responded, right? So black punt for TD. Kiael Kelly comes back on the field, drives down the field, touchdown. That was a good response. The onside kick that they recovered when we were down 14-7 that we got bailed out for, we responded and got a touchdown on that drive by Qua Ashley. The bad interception by Kiael Kelly on an underthrown ball in the middle of the field at the beginning of the second quarter, the defense held, didn't let up points. They responded. Right after that, fumbled punt return on the 7-yard line that you referenced. Defense held. They didn't score a single point off of that. One of the big things in this game, John, was there was no points on turnovers. And if you watch that game, there was so many turnovers. Like that was not a clean game. It was sloppy. So kudos to the defense for holding people. There was another one, John. Before the end of the half, a bad penalty put our defense in a bad position and put New Hampshire at near the 50-yard line. They were driving and actually had a field goal attempt at the end of the half because of a bad penalty. So once again, our defense holds. Defense was really actually killing it, particularly before the Stemler ejection. And that Stemler ejection, I don't know if it hurt us too much, but I don't think we were as clean and crisp with him out.
Yeah, Willie, interesting question for you here. So we lose the turnover battle, I believe, technically 3-0. We have a safety. We have basically an onside kick recovered that we got bailed out on. So we lose the turnover battle, essentially 4-0, almost 5-0. How many games in your career do you think you've won where you lost a turnover battle that bad?
Not many. And if we were in a turnover battle, it was a close game, kind of like this one. And it comes down to those situations, like Colin said, where the defense is holding strong on a short field. That is a huge turn in the game when the defense can make a stop like that, and we can kind of respond and go take it down the field and score a touchdown. So kudos to the defense, man. The front seven came to play. They were stout. I think the secondary can continue to get better. I know Burke and Wilson, both for New Hampshire, had 7 catches. Both had one had 89, one had 84 for a touchdown. So we still got to be cleaner on the back end. Whether we got to watch more tape or we got to make more opportunistic plays when the ball is in the air. But I know there was times they took more shots downfield, and the guys were there to make the play. So no big shots. I think most of the plays came from bust coverage and just the quarterback scrambling, getting free, kind of making something happen and tossing it up. But I mean, those turnovers, man, when you give them up like that, I mean, just imagine if we don't turn the ball over, if we don't muff the punt,
Hmm.
it's a totally different game. But like Colin said, man, like those are big points that if they score, I mean, we're having a different conversation this morning. So, and it just puts more pressure on Kelly to make those throws because, like the interception he threw down the middle to Weatherly, he left that too far inside. When you're attacking a cover two safety, you have to put that thing on a rope, and it can't be inside. It drifted inside a little bit, gave the guy a chance to undercut and make a great play on a one-handed interception, but I think if he was able to step into that throw a little bit and throw it to that opposite hash on a rope, I think he might have had a chance. But the passing game just has to continue to develop because one of these games coming forward, mark my words, John, we're going to be in a battle like this again. And it's going to come down to the offensive playmakers on the outside. So they got to continue to get better. They got to continue to grind it out, continue to prepare during the week. And I think it's going to come down to one of these games again. We're going to be in the same situation again. We're gonna beat ourselves in some situations, and we're gonna have to respond. So we got to continue to grow in those areas where we keep making mistakes.
Yeah, we're talking about the offense now. We can kind of dive into it a little bit more here. But this is obviously the main takeaway for me. We had a chance now where we were able to put a bunch of points up on the board. We had 200-yard rushers yesterday. I thought personally there was some noticeable improvements in the passing game. There's a couple drops that I think should have happened. But Colin, I'll start with you. I'll give you the
Yeah.
choice. Would you like to talk about the passing game or the running game first?
I'll actually talk about passing game because I think running game will be a little bit more simple. It looked incredible, but the passing game was sporadically punchy. So I'll give you an example. Donovan Hamilton, a name I had never even heard of, and I love to follow this team closely. Never heard of this guy. Maybe 20-something yard pass from Kiael Kelly. I think it was in the first quarter. He really popped out, and then we never saw him again. So that was interesting. There was a drop by Ty Robinson that I hated to see at a certain point. I think he'll get that fixed. He'll get that right. But the passing game every now and then was lively. I think it sometimes Kiael Kelly would miss passes here and there, but for the most part, when we needed a timely throw to mix in with the run game, I think it was there.
Mhm.
Yeah, and Willie, as a wide receiver, yesterday when you have a guy like Qua Ashley going off, you have Kiael Kelly getting a lot of stuff done with his feet. Is it a scenario where you're just like, man, we're moving this ball. I'm going to get my chances when they come. I'm going to be ready.
Yeah.
Kind of what's your mentality when the team is running the ball as well as they were able to yesterday, from a wide receiver, that is.
Yeah, definitely from the wide receiver standpoint. I mean, with the weather the way it was too,
Yep.
I think that played a big part in just the coach U's play selection. So as a wide receiver in my head, it's like if we're gonna run the ball, I gotta get involved in the run game. And I saw on the Quay's first touchdown, the backside receiver came in, got the block, which kind of sprung Quay to get outside and make that touchdown happen. So kudos to the receivers for the run game blocking. And in my history, man, the long runs that always happened in my career, receivers were blocking down the field. They were sprinting to the safeties, getting in front of their guy, able to make the running back make a cut and spring it off. And sometimes those games are frustrating because you want to be able to connect on passes, but I think Coach U did a great job distributing the ball where it needed to be. He kind of married it up with what he was doing in the run game, whether it's play action. I know Cameron Anthony snuck out the back end when we got close to the red zone, and he got a little sneaky touchdown in there. Kudos to him. And then Quay out the backfield, he had a seam route, dotted him, going up the seam and was able to walk in. So that was nice too. So it was good to see Kelly connect on those kind of passes, just to have some poise about him, some moxie, and make those throws happen. So there was a lot of good stuff in the passing game, but like you said, John, when the weather is like that, when it's rainy, It's not clean football. It's muddy. Receivers gotta be unselfish and get in the run game, man. Because when you pop off runs like that, those big 70-yard, 40-yard runs, more than likely receivers are getting involved in the run game, which are able to make that pop once the running back or quarterback clears that second level. So I love to see that. I love to see receivers blocking.
All right, Colin, you had something else here?
Yeah, last week, and it might have been the week before, but Willie and I went through film and broke down some film, and what we realized was there's a couple cover zero moments from the defense where we didn't have quick routes for Kelly to dump off the ball. Now, one of the things we recommended was maybe utilizing Qua out of the backfield for drop off passes, and they really did that this week. He got going in the passing game, and so I wanted to give a shout out there because I don't know, maybe the coaching staff is listening, guys, because they really did listen to what we said, and it was nice to see him have some plays from, something just real quick, just to get to Qua. Qua is such a weapon. Like, give him the ball in open space and let him do damage. One touchdown did come just out of a run, but he looks almost more dangerous when you get him the ball like with some space out there in the open field.
It reminds me of Juwan Quake Edward esque. Esque. He's built like that, so I like it. I like the rumbling, tumbling.
That's our guy right there, Juwan. Juwan, if you're listening, shout out to Juwan. I had one more thing before we moved on from the offense here, and it was one particular play from Kiael Kelly at the end of the first half. They had a beautiful 2-minute drive to end the first half yesterday, and I think he had a really mature moment that we've seen from him, obviously maturing here as he's getting more playing time as the starting quarterback. He had a play where you could see that arm twitch a couple times. It was one of those long plays where he was scrambling around. You could tell he wanted to let it rip, but he couldn't quite find what he wanted. He didn't let it rip, and he tucked it and ran for, 10, 12 yards, something like that. That was a great play. I don't know if it was on third down. It might have been on second down, but that was something that I really liked, that he didn't try and force the throw in that scenario. He was able to take what the defense gave him, got yards, got out of bounds, kept that drive going, and they ended up scoring out of it. So that was something I really liked, seeing that out of Kiael Kelly. So shout out Kiael Kelly. I thought Kiael Kelly played a great game yesterday for what we needed him to do. He obviously had a couple mistakes, but he had just a couple plays that a normal quarterback in the MAC I don't think is going to be able to make, especially with his feet. So we started off the show giving a lot of praise to the defense. I figured we will jump back into them here and now. Colin, we'll start with you. Obviously, Nathan Voorhees, I thought had a great game. Our friend Rob from Sidelines put out something yesterday. I think he's got 2.5 or 3.5 sacks as of right now. So he's about a sack per game player so far. He could be on kind of pace to break that single season sack record throughout Ball State if he continues on this way. So, Colin, anything about Nathan or anything about the rest of the defense that you really need to kind of get in here now, aside from really where they were able to stand at times and not break?
Sure. Yeah, so Nathan Boris is going to be my defensive standout player of the game. But there were a couple guys that popped. I spoke a little bit about DeJuan Eccles already. And we did talk about Joey Stemler getting injured. Or not injured, getting targeting. So they kicked him from the game, and I think he's going to miss the first half of UConn as well. But that led to opportunities for other players that stepped up, like Smoke Johnson. I saw a big play. He almost got a safety, I think it is what it was. And near kind of on their end zone side, he blitzed through and swung the guy down maybe a couple yards away from the end zone. He was limping on that play too. I don't know if you guys remember this. They took him off the field immediately. But he had a couple plays that really popped. And then I want to give a shout out to BB, another one of our linebackers that stepped up after Stemler had to go out. He made a couple big tackles. He filled that role. We needed somebody in the linebacker unit to step up, and both of those guys did that. Now in the secondary, I think that's where we'd say the weakness of our defense lies. And on this game, it was probably no different. They did limit, I think, the huge, massive plays that turned into touchdowns because they scored, 29 points, and 7 was the punt block touchdown, and 2 were a safety. So they really only gave up 20 points. You put them in a pickle multiple times in the game. So I think even the corners, it's safe to say, maybe stepped up a little. But overall, a great defensive team effort. And I think that front seven still is a spot that shined.
Willie, I wanted to ask you, Colin referenced that play with Joey Stimler. From my vantage point, obviously it's a tough looking play, especially live. But when they kind of break it down, 3 guys had him wrapped up. They kind of spun him around, and right as they spun him around, they blew the whistle. He was already coming in and hitting it. So again, he probably should be tossed for it. Again, it was a tough play. It's kind of a bang-bang-ish play. But when you lose a leader on a side of the ball like that, Willie, what does that kind of do to the team? Is it just next man up mentality? Is it, oh crap, like we're losing one of our best players here? How do you guys kind of respond to that on the sideline?
Yeah, it sucks losing a leader like that. I mean, it's a tough play. I mean, I was listening to on the radio, my ESPN Plus was tripping, but when I
Yeah.
heard it, it sounded egregious.
Mhm.
And you just want to see some composure in that moment, right? But to be honest, it's always next man up mentality. It has to be that way, especially when it's in a grimy game like that. And 2 guys that stood out for me was Whitner and Beebe. Like Colin said, those guys came to play. They had the most tackles. I think Jack had 4 tackles, solos, and then Ashton Whitner, he had 6 solo tackles. So, I mean, those are some big time numbers. Guys came to play on defense. It wasn't perfect. It never really is on defense, but it's like if you can limit the explosive plays and get pressure up front, stop the run, that's a formula for success. We just gotta knock out the airhead, the blown assignments. Those things will kill us every time, man. It's just the communication on the back end has to get better. But I think overall it was a better performance by the defense, especially when they had the short field on those situations. I think that was just a maturity thing for us. It's going to be good to watch the tape this week and really grow from it.
Mhm. All right, everyone out there listening, if you can hear us right now, be sure to leave any questions or comments you have for any of the 3 of us in the live chats on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Twitter. And we'll get to those at the end of the show. We have a handful of them already, but I figured I'd remind everyone out there listening. So I think there was a lot of good takeaway on offense. There was a lot of good takeaway on defense. Boys, I don't think there's a lot of good takeaways on special teams. I'll kind of get us kicked off here with special teams because this is becoming a trend now where we're having these kind of really bad showings on special teams, in my opinion. It seems like each week it's usually the forgotten about kind of not really talked about much phase of the game. But when you do have to talk about it, it's usually either really good or it's either really bad. So I thought it was obviously very bad yesterday. Right out the gate, block punt return for a touchdown. What else? Oh, onside kick. They surprised me with the onside kick. Now we got bailed out on that because they were a little offsides, but that would be a second possession right there that we would have lost. I believe we had a couple 15-yard penalties throughout the game on that. Muff punt,
The fumbled punt return.
muff punt, bad. This all has to be fixed. We cannot lose these. We have a comment here, and I'll get to it at the end, obviously. But someone's commenting about it as well, saying, this is going to cost us a game at some point. It's cost us games in the past. Willie, obviously, again, people don't talk about special teams a lot unless it's very glaring. How can you emphasize to fans out there who maybe don't realize how important special teams truly are to a game? It's a third phase, but sometimes it gets forgotten about.
I'll put it this way: when Pete Lembo was my coach, special teams was number one. Because exactly what you said, it will win you or lose you games. And I think yesterday was just a determining factor that is the truth. The muff punt, even in rainy conditions, you got to be smart, man. You have to be smart. I mean, the block punt was just an execution thing. They didn't bring any more numbers than we have. We just didn't block the right people up. And we got to get the ball off sooner, with the punter. We got to be able to take one less of a step to get that ball off, especially when they bring in the house like that. But kudos to New Hampshire, man. They came to play. They had a game plan. They with the onside kick. But like I said, Pete Lembo was a special teams guy. He spent the most time in special teams. He was in the special teams meetings. That's something we have to get corrected. And I'm glad it happened now versus during the couple weeks later. But I think if they're able to, iron that stuff out and really, whoever's back there catching punts, man, just got to be the smartest guy out there. Jameel Smith was one of the best punt returners I've been around. He caught everything. He was smart. He didn't do stupid stuff. He didn't force anything, right? You just got to be able to remember the ball is everything, right? The ball is everything. So when you're back there trying to catch punts, you just got to have the utmost confidence that whatever you do it 100%. Don't second guess. The moment you second guess, get out of the way,
Mhm.
right? But I think special teams is definitely key for us, especially in these close games, man. I called it. Like I was hoping the special teams would be on our side, but it ended up
Yeah.
being not,
Yeah.
right? So, that just comes to show you it's like, and it's gonna be one of my chirps this week too. It's gonna challenge the special teams. We gotta get an explosive for over 20 yards, or we gotta create a turnover, and that's gonna be the momentum changer, especially for the whole team. You're talking about momentum change. That does everything for offense when you get a short field, whether it's a kickoff punch out or um, a 40-yard return on a punt return or a kickoff return. That it does crazy numbers. So I'm looking forward to that this week. It's gonna be a challenge.
Yeah, it was funny. Right when that happened yesterday, I texted Willie. I said, "Willie, your chirp is supposed to be for us, not for New Hampshire." So, Colin, we
Exactly.
heard our friend on Wednesday, Justin McIsaac, talking about UNH's special teams. Now they had blocked 2 kicks already. This is 3 for 3 now. Them blocking kicks. Do you have
Mhm.
any other takeaways from the special teams performance
I
by
do.
Ball State yesterday?
I do because John, special teams was horrendous. We're kind of being soft on this, and Lennon just go, "Oh, it was kind of bad, but we won the game." John, we left things off that were bad that happened. So you talked about the blocked punt for TD, the onside kick when we were down 14-7 that really could have, put a nail in our coffin. The fump, and it wasn't a muffed punt because I when I was watching it with a buddy, I was like, "Did he just muff the punt?" And then he was like, "No, he caught it and then he fumbled it, like trying to make a move, and then he
Mm-hmm.
was on the 7-yard line." That actually led to them taking out Eric Weatherly Jr., who we're all pretty big fans of here. I know I am myself. I know Willie
Mm-hmm.
loves him. Eric Weatherly Jr. is a dog, but on this punt return, this is the second time now he's made a mistake. Not in just this game, but there was a game previous to this that he made another mistake on punt return. So what did the coaching staff do? They took him out, put in Keon Magwood, and then things kind of like simmered down on that front. He kind of played it safe though. I saw him like running out of bounds, just getting 5 yards here and there, which is fine. We don't need a ton, but we just can't have those mistakes like that. But some things we left off on special teams, guys, we haven't even touched yet. Somebody waves for fair catch. Our guy flies right past him and hits him. Flag. Kick, catch, interference. And I think that might have been the flag that got them close at
Yep.
the end of the half that they tried to kick a field goal for, which could have
Right.
came back to bite. Now, one more thing that we didn't touch on either, the missed PAT.
Hmm.
The missed PAT because the score should have been 35-29. And
Mhm.
that kind of came back to bite us because they're trying to get this touchdown. If they get the touchdown, they win the game, sort of deal. It kind of reminds you of Notre Dame a little bit as well.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was just dreadful overall. It was one of those games where you're watching with your buddies and they're like, "Who is the special teams coordinator?" They're like looking up name. They're like showing you like, "Who is this guy? What is he doing?" So you never want to see that your buddy's like trying to figure out what the heck is going on with the coaching staff, right? Now, as terrible as it was, like if you told me, John and Willie, I want you to give it a rating from 1 to 10. I might not go straight 1.0. I might actually go with 3.0 because I did have a couple highlights. Leave it to me to find a highlight for a terrible position group. But the one person who stuck out to me that was really fighting and clawing on the special teams, and he was my player of the game in general, Qua Ashley. On the first kick return of the game, he took the ball out to the 36. Great field position. On the second kick return of the game, took the ball out to the 31. And consistently, I saw on kickoff return that this man was putting a foot in the ground, cutting up, trying to make things happen. Now, was it always great field position like those first two? Not always. But I will say he was a dog last night. He was fighting. And for that, I want to give him a shout out, even on special teams.
Okay. Look at that. You did find some good stuff out of that yesterday.
Yeah.
um, Willie, I don't know what segment we're going to call this, but this. We've kind of covered all 3 phases of the game. I don't know if I want to call this Willie Snead's leadership section. I don't know what we want to call it here, but I always have a couple of questions about just the inner nuances of things throughout the games, and I want to get your perspective on. So in a game like yesterday, which I think we can all agree and everyone listening can agree is kind of a crazy game, what is kind of – oh, there we go. Yeah, Colin, I like that. Lead with Snead. We're going to lead with Snead here. This is our segment, Lead with Snead.
I like that.
Crazy game yesterday. What's the sideline like? When you're a leader on the sideline, is it like, is in your head like, man, this game is nuts, or is it just kind of like next play mentality? What's kind of the vibe on the sideline with a game like yesterday?
Yeah, your leadership is excuse me. Your leadership is definitely tested in those moments. And for me, when I was in those positions, it's just clapping up guys. It's motivating guys, getting hype on the defense. Standing up when the defense is on third down. It's just bringing more energy because that's what's you got to match it. You got to match it, man. When they score a touchdown, you got to call on your leaders to make plays. And I think that's what our guys did yesterday. When we talk about Kelly, Qua, a couple of the other receivers that made big plays in the run game, especially in the pass game too. It's like leaders got to step up in those games. And when I think about my days, I just think about the guys that made plays. When we were in the tight battles, we got to lean on our leaders. We got to lean on our playmakers, to come in there and make plays, whether it was offense, defense, special teams. Like, we got to find a way to get an advantage on these guys. And most of the time it came down to guys making plays on the field to keep us going. But on the sideline, it's just really talking guys up. Like you said, next play mentality, next play. Like, forget that last play. It's over. Like, let's move forward. Let's go. That's how you stay in these games, because if you dwell on the interception, if you dwell on the touchdown that they scored, that can take everything out of a team, the luster, the motivation, all that stuff. So it was really good to see, just guys respond to adversity yesterday, because that's really all we were hearing, or I was hearing, was just the adversity from like third down conversions to special teams botch plays. Like, it was just stuff going on all over the place. But guys were resilient. They fought through the noise. And at the end of the game, they were singing the fight song. So, I love seeing that. And I think one of you guys mentioned earlier, it's like, if this was last year or the last couple of years, it's like these games we lose because you lose the edge, you lose the motivation at the end to go out there and just finish. Like, that's all I was screaming yesterday in the fourth quarter: just finish the game, run the ball, like, do what you were doing, like, lean on these dudes, let's go. Like, that's the type of talk that's going on the sideline.
So you mentioned weather earlier, Willie. It was raining throughout the game in Muncie. And so I was an equipment manager in the NFL for a few years, so I have a very specific answer to this question, but I wanted to get it from a player's perspective. Which is worse to you, playing in the rain or playing in the snow? You played in Baltimore for a while. You could have had a chance to play in snow games. Rain or snow, as a player, which is worse?
Which is worse?
Yeah.
When I was playing in Buffalo and those flurries started hitting the field, that felt bad because we were playing on turf. But I think the rain, no, the rain was just too much fun. Like, we weren't getting a lot of passes, but it's the cold. When it's cold and it's snowing and you're trying to catch a football, your fingers start to light up, man. Like, it's just like you're not getting a pass all day, and all of a sudden you catch a rocket from Lamar out of nowhere. Like, those days, those hurt. And but I always had fun in the rain games. Like, the rain games, we had the most fun. It wasn't a big like passing day. It was kind of like what we saw yesterday. It was low passing attempts, a lot of run game, and that's how it is in those type of games. The weather plays a factor. You got to go with what you know. And Coach Yu did a great job dialing up those plays in certain situations, leaning on the run game, using the pass game off the run. Like, that's how you do it, man. That's how you orchestrate it, and that was good to see. So I think playing in the snow is less fun for me because I just don't like playing in the cold side, honestly. Like, I'm a Florida kid. I'm used to the rain all the time because it rains like every day out here. But the snow, the cold, y'all can keep that in Muncie, man. I'm good.
I'll tell you, from the equipment side of things, rain is 1,000% worse than snow. Snow is not that bad. Obviously, your footwear is going to be a little bit different, but the rain, it just gets everything wet. People have to change gloves. People are changing pants at halftime. They're wanting to, you got to keep the balls extra dry. It's the worst. I would rather it be 100 degrees outside or it be negative 20 degrees outside than it have like 1 ounce of rain on the field. But
it's definitely less work for you guys. But
yes, Yes.
Like, I remember one year we were in Northern Illinois, and one of those damn heaters broke on the
Oh yeah.
side. I'm like, no, this is not the time for the
Yeah.
heaters to break. Text,
Yeah.
come get me.
All right, I got one more lead with Snead, and then we're going to get into Colin's pulse of Cardinal Nation. But so my last question here, this is more of a fun one. All right, you get that first win of the season. What are the vibes like in the locker room afterwards?
I mean, you saw it, man. Guys are hype for Coach U. Get that first dub. Um, but Kiael Kelly said it best, man. It's hard to win in this league against anybody. So, the fact that they got the first one, and the fact that they got the first one at home is a great feeling. The locker room is probably hype. Guys dancing, guys, high fiving each other, just congratulating them on finishing the game the right way. And I think that gives you a lot of energy, a lot of boost going into this next week. But with that being said, they got to watch the film, man. They got to learn from the film. They got to eliminate the mistakes, man. Because I could see Ball State has a really good team. They have a powerful team. They got playmakers. They got a defense. We just got to eliminate the plays where we're hurting ourselves, at the end of the day. So it was great to get the first one. I know the locker room is hyped. The guys enjoyed that one. But today should be a day of really looking at the tape, studying it, and seeing where we can get better. Because I think if they do that, they'll go into UConn next week with the right mentality, and they'll have the juice to come off this game too.
All right, everyone listening, one more reminder. If you want to have your questions or comments read at the end of the show, be sure to get them in the chats on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Twitter. So, Colin, you are the man with a finger on the pulse of Cardinal Nation. What are you hearing after the game yesterday?
Yeah, pulse right now of Cardinal Nation, I'd say it's resting. I feel like everybody feels pretty good about that win. I did get some feedback here, so that's really what Pulse of the Cardinal Nation is all about. What people were saying to me, completely unnecessary targeting stuck out to them, took out a leader on our defense. I think that is one play, depending on how next week goes, that is something that might affect us in the near future here. We have to go a whole half without Joey Stemler. That is a major bummer. That's going to hurt. Another person spoke up and said the Ball State rushing game, 243 yards, 3 touchdowns is the game-changing factor so far. That's 100% got to be right on the money. And then finally, one of the last things I heard was the script was flipped yesterday. Normally, the offense, which we thought was a weakness these first couple of games, ran roughshod. Qua Ashley's a stud. The defense, which we thought was a strength, I still think is a strength, couldn't really seem to stop New Hampshire. At least this is what this person said. We did have our defense really hold firm when it had to, be real stingy. Definitely the pulse of Cardinal Nation right now is not so elevated. People aren't ready to pull out their pitchforks. We won the game that we had to win, John. And now UConn, I think the pressure's on them. They just lost to Delaware. They've got Ball State coming into town. UConn's probably expected to win that. But, let's get our boys up for this game and at the very least be competitive. If we lose by 3, okay. But I want to get this dub, go 2-2, get us ready for MAC play, get us going. I think we're in the right direction. I think Cardinal Nation feels that. They're with us. So right now, Pulse of Cardinal Nation, it's at a good spot.
Yes. So this leads us into our post-game chirp. So one hot take, something you learn, or maybe a prediction for the UConn game. It can be whatever you want. And I'll actually start this off because you brought up the UConn game. My post-game chirp is UConn, you better be ready because I'm going to be in the house next week. I'm going to be in East Hartford next Saturday. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be chirping. I got a big group of people coming with me. You haven't accounted for me. I got to be worth at least 3 points or something. So I am going to be in the house at UConn next week. So if there's any fans of the show out there, find me. I'll be in the Ball State section. Let's get a picture together. Let's chirp. Let's get a drink. Let's get a hot dog. Let's do something. But let's have a good time and let's beat UConn. So, Willie, what's your kind of post-game chirp here?
Post-game chirp is this. Let's just build off of this one, man. Let's not get too high on this one. Know that we did what we had to do. We executed. We beat the team we were supposed to beat. And now let's just build off of this momentum. Like, UConn is a beatable team. Watch the Delaware tape. Really study these guys. Know these guys inside and out. Go on the road. Win a tough game. It's going to be tough. You guys got John out there. He's going to be chirping them off. Be ready for it, man. Be ready to win the game. Don't go into these environments. Like when we went up to Virginia my junior year, we knew we were going to win that game. ACC, forget it. Like we didn't care. Like we prepared. We studied these guys. We knew these guys. We knew what they wanted to do. That we knew how they wanted to attack us. Now we just gotta go out there and execute. So I'm just looking for my chirp is execution on all three levels: offense, defense, special teams. Execute at a high level and go in this UConn game with the mentality we are going to win this game. Don't go in there half stepping. Go in there to win this game. And I bet if they go out there in that first half and do what they're supposed to do, the guy that got ejected, he's going to come back in that second half,
Mm-hmm.
hopefully with his head screwed on tighter this time, and be a difference maker. Because when guys like that go out who are captains or leaders, more than likely they come back ready to go. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to look for that too. I'm going to challenge that individual. Hey, you messed up, own it, right? Now come back and be the leader we need you to be. And then when you step back in between those lines, be the dog we know you are.
Colin, what about you?
Hey, that was a great one, Willie. I love the call out for Joey Stemler. Step up this next game. Show us. Willie and I are watching. Go crazy, Joey, because we want to feel that impact when you come in.
Yeah.
Now, what John asked about the one kind of chirp, post-game chirp. Real quick, I just want to go into my 3 pre-game chirps. I had D-line to have 5+ sacks. We only had 4. Sharp kicking game, missed a PAT. Get Kiael Kelly rolling. We did that. So what I think that's proven is only one of my chirps need to happen and we can win. So I got 3 quick post-game chirps for what I want to see this upcoming UConn game. Nathan Voris has a sack in every single game so far this year. And boys, UConn is next week. Nathan Voris used to play at UConn.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little bulletin board material. I want 2 sacks from Nathan Voris this upcoming week. Go crazy, Nate. We're going to be watching. Second one, Willie called this during the game. I don't know what was going on, but against UConn, run the ball. Run the ball. Nonstop. I want to see run, pass. Run, pass. That's how the play call should be, okay? Finally, my last pre-UConn post-game New Hampshire chirp. This one might be a chirp until October 4th. Retire number 3. Retire Willie Snead. I don't want to see anybody in that jersey. Retire the jersey. Tag David Letterman.
We did. David Letterman has been tagged. So, all right, we're going to get into listener questions, comments now, and we will get out of here. So, first one is from Sam Tucker. Now, it just says here that he reposted the stream, but he has put a couple comments in here. For some reason, they're not showing up on my end, so I'll just go ahead and read them to us now. And they're actually to all 3 of us, each one of us. So, Willie, I'll start with you. Willie, with your 12 years of NFL experience and Ball State's second something in MAC passing yards, with Ball State second to last passers, my apologies. What drills or strategies could Kiael Kelly and the wide receivers use to build in-game chemistry? And did you ever have a quarterback chemistry struggles with? And if you did, how'd you fix it?
Yeah, me and Keith, like I was Keith's best friend. Like it starts with on the field, obviously, like building the chemistry and routes on air, 7-on-7s, and then the stuff you don't connect on, it's just getting with the cue and talking to them, getting on the same page with what we're trying to accomplish here. Like I'm running route this way. If I get this leverage, I'm gone. If I get this look, I'm snapping it down, right? And that's where me and Keith, that's why Keith was so good, man. He was a great listener, and we took what we saw on the film and did on the practice field and turned it into the game. And that's where that trust was built. Like he would throw a bomb out there to me, knowing I was going to be there and knowing I was going to make the play. And he would never do that if we didn't do it over and over and over again in practice, whether that was in the spring, the summer, training camp. Like those are reps that are counted off the field. And you don't see those on game day until that stuff has happened in practice consistently. So, I was always that type of guy. Like I was living down the street from Keith. I was his neighbor. He always see me, so it's like just building that chemistry off the field too is just where Kelly can be trusted. Like he's got to trust his guys, and that happens in practice and off the field. Communication is key. I think if they do that, it's nothing really like that they need to do. It's just they got to continue to rep it out. They got to continue to work on it, constantly. You can't get enough after practice. Getting 5 routes in, routes that you might have missed in practice. You got to connect on them because it's like when I was with Drew Brees, like after a 2.5 hour practice, he would come find me and he would make sure that we got a rep that we missed in practice, whether it was a 2 or 3 routes. That was important enough to him to make sure that we got that rep and connected on it. So like when the next time that play is called, he remembers connecting on it versus missing it in practice. So that's going to be key. Is just making sure that compatibility, that connection is built over these next couple weeks. And I think if they do that, we'll see an improvement in the passing game.
All right, Colin, his for you was Ball State notched 4 sacks, 9 tackle for losses, and 7 pass breakups, short of your 5+ sack goal. But how crucial was that disruption in the 34-29 win over New Hampshire? And would you like to see Ball State's defense build off of this performance?
Yeah, that performance was everything. I think it was really what kept us from giving up those points when the offense put them in a bad position, when special teams put us in a bad position. The defense really held us down and made sure, hey, we're not losing this game. We're not going to lose this game. So I want to see them build on that. UConn is very beatable, as we just saw. So if our defense can be even more dominant than it was this week, which I would say it had its moments dominating. There were some moments where we gave up big plays where they needled us down the field. If we continue to improve, and especially on the defensive side, I think we could win UConn.
Yeah, and then for me, he said Ball State went 9 of 15 for 105 yards, 2 touchdowns. Did that pass upgrade against UNH's defense meet my expectations? That was one of my chirps, was to have a significant upgrade in the passing game. Yes and no. I definitely saw noticeable improvements in the passing game from the first 2 weeks. But obviously, I would like to see a little bit more than 105 yards. I feel like, with this passing attack we might have, I think you want to be closer to about that 200-yard range. But they kind of took how the game was going. They were running the ball really well. Obviously, it was raining. So I would say, Sam, yes and no on that front. Loyal friend Jeremy Bryant here says, our special teams is going to eventually cost Ball State a game. That's what I was alluding to earlier. If they don't get it figured out, I think we kind of all agree on that one. We have a comment here from YouTube. I don't know if this is Eric Weatherly's father or who this is based on the name, but great commentary by Snead on the first 15 plays. He's spot on. Our play calling is conservative and is not aggressive or attacking. It feels like they are like the strategy is playing not to lose versus playing to win. Willie, what do you think about that comment right there? Is it more playing not to lose, is it more playing to win, or is it just kind of playing how the game is unfolding?
Yeah, it just feels like it's like more of take the game as it comes instead of putting us on attack mode. And what I was referring to those 15 plays is those 15 plays are just plays where you get guys going, get guys catches, whether it's a screen, a hitch, a slant, get the run game going, start ripping off plays that during the week of practice you had a lot of success in. You got watch tape, guys are familiar with that scheme. Those are the things you just want to be able to get guys in a good rhythm. And I mean, if you go around the league, around the NCAA, it's like you study teams, watch their first drive and just look how in sync they are and know what they want to do, know what they're trying to accomplish, right? It just gives the offensive guys, especially the O-line, when they're coming off the ball and running the ball like they did, it gives them that edge, that aggressiveness, that motivation to continue to battle and continue to go hard. So, yeah, I mean, I think we definitely need to put more screen game in, for the receivers. We got a lot of twitchy guys on the outside, just needed the ball in their hands quicker, and that's really easy for Kyle. Just step back and pitch it out there and get those guys out in space. So hopefully the first 15 plays, are built different this week, because it's gonna be that's gonna separate us this week. We can't go in there and just wait for UConn to throw the first punch. We got to go in there, like I said, expecting to win the game, and for that to happen, we can't wait for them to come to us. We got to attack them and make them respond to us.
Yeah, Eric Weatherly's a guy we need to get going. He should be the next guy. We got Qua Ashley going. Let's get the Kiael Kelly, Eric Weatherly Jr. connection really going and moving because he's such a weapon. We need to get something that can like scare the defense down the field so those linebackers can't just stay really close to the D line there and 5 feet away they're just creeping up because they know we're just going to read option it. So that's something I want to see is next week. Let's get Eric Weatherly going.
Yeah, him and Magwood, I would love to
Mhm.
see really get involved. Whether that's just getting them a screen, getting the ball in their hands quick, so they could be the playmakers that they are. That's not too much for Kelly to take on. You know what I'm saying? If anything, it'll help him get in the rhythm a lot quicker.
Until I'm told otherwise, I'm going with it. This is Ball State legendary tight end Darius Hill. Darius was watching earlier over on YouTube. He said, 100% agree. The communication on the back end has to get better. Too many times, guys were running wide open. We have two more comments here from our friend Jeremy Bryant. I'll go with one of his comments first, and we'll end with his question. So he said, shout out to the leaders, coaches, and players for continuing to play and not letting all the negative plays stack up and ruin their mindset. Excited for UConn. So, and his last question here is going. Oops, we lost it here. Sorry. Going into MAC play minus UConn. So obviously, you want to win the UConn game. That's your goal. To go to a bowl game. I think we need to try and figure out a way to win that game. But at the end of the day, MAC play hasn't started yet. 0-0 in the MAC play. So what does this team need to do to make a run and possibly become a MAC championship contender this year? Willie, I'll start with you.
They just have to have the mentality to go 1-0 every week. It's about the week that they're on right now. Right now they're on UConn. They focus on UConn. They get a little bye week, and then when Ohio comes to town, it's just focusing on that team and not looking too far down the road, worrying about other teams. It's just in the moment, going 1-0 each week. If we stack 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, we'll be in the position where we want to be in the MAC championship contender race. You know what I'm saying? But we have to be able to take care of these minuses that are put on tape, because what you put on tape is your resume, right? We got 3 games of tape now. Some bad, some good now. So they have to understand that this is who they are. The back end of our defense, what these teams see on tape is what they're going to attack. So they have to fix these things. Special teams too. Like, they got a week where they got away with it. Okay. Now they go to put the work in and they got to fix that stuff, right? So I just think if we want to be in the contender race when we get halfway through the season, we just got to have the mentality to go 1-0 every week. That was our mentality when we were in it. We just focused on that team for that week. Got to handle business, right? That's always number one. You got to get the dub. And, normally you find yourself in a position where it comes down to a possession. I just remember Northern Illinois, man. Dude.
Yeah.
Jo- oh my God. Jordan Lynch, Heisman Kent. I'm just gonna leave it at Heisman contender, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just a possession. Like, we put ourselves in that position to be there. And when we get there, just like this game, it comes down to those one or two moments. You get a guy down for a sack, you make a throw, a bad play call, but the only way we got there is we went 1-0 every week, and that was our mentality. So that's why we were so good. I think if we have that mentality, once we get past UConn, I think we'll be all right. We just got to eliminate the mistakes and stop beating ourselves with the careless penalties and the bonehead plays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well put. Colin, do you have anything else to add to that?
Yeah, just my one thing would be we gotta be able to stop the pass. Like that's how we're gonna get attacked. And like Willie said on another episode earlier, when you put this stuff on film of them just being able to really get whatever they want, other teams are gonna try that again. And that's a problem when you got a team like Ohio coming to town, Parker Navarro. So just off the rip, the one thing we got to improve on is being able to stop the run. Because if we're getting thrown on all over the place, I don't know that our offense is a type of offense that's going to be able to respond and go effectively tick for tat with a pass heavy offense.
Yep, I agree. And Ohio looked pretty good for a while against Ohio State last night. So that'll be a big test here in a few weeks. But like you said, we're focused on UConn right now. We'll get to them down the road. So that wraps up our listener questions and comments. Again, if you ever want to have your questions or comments read on the show, you can drop them on any of our social media platforms at any time, and we will add them into the show, or you can do them live like people were today. So, guys, before we get out of here, I have one extra surprise segment here. It's called John's Mail Corner. So sometimes in the past, I've opened some Ball State memorabilia mail on the air, and I got something here this week that I think you guys might get a kick out of. So let me grab it real quick here. So right here, I was scrolling Facebook Marketplace, and I saw this. I said, I gotta have it. I can't go without it. So ordered it, got shipped to me here. Shout out to my friend down in New Orleans.
Whoa,
Yo, I love that.
that's fire.
We got the Willie Snead Nike New Orleans Saints jersey.
Much love, bro. That's dope.
I'll be wearing this. I won't be in the house for the Hall of Fame game. I'll be on a cruise, but I'll be wearing this on the cruise. This will be in international waters, Willie. I don't know if anyone's ever worn a Willie Snead jersey in international waters, but a first is coming here in a few weeks.
Bro, that's so real, bro. I appreciate that, man. I know that's gonna hit my account probably like for $10 or something. But
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
So I found it. I was looking online on eBay for a while. I mean, you don't really have a bunch of inexpensive jerseys on eBay. There's some more higher priced ones out there. So shout out to I believe it's Rochelle in New Orleans, Louisiana, who I found this from. So
Yo, that's what's up.
Rochelle got me hooked up with the Willie Snead jersey. So yeah, so that's John's mail corner. I figured I would show that to you guys. So all right, any last thoughts from either of you before we get out of here?
No, I thought it was a great game last night. I mean, yesterday got the dub, and it's something we could build off of. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the team attacks this week. I'm looking forward to the next show. I have my 3 chirps ready, and hope you guys have a great week and a great Sunday also.
Colin, anything else for the fans?
Yeah, let's beat UConn. Chirp, chirp. Shout out to the players. They really did their thing this week. Shout out to the fans supporting. Let's keep getting behind them and keep pushing this team forward. Beating UConn would be so sweet. John, I'll be on this pod. I'll light a cigar on the pod, John, if we beat
No.
UConn. Like, I want to get this win.
Hey, we had one more fan come in here real quick from Ollie, Willie, the GOAT. There you go.
Much love, brother.
Okay, so quick wrap up for this upcoming week. Again, we'll be live. We'll have a live show, either live or pre-recorded. There'll be a show on Wednesday at 8:30, like every week. And then next week, this recap show that we're on right now is actually going to be next Sunday night. Like I said earlier, I'm going to the game, so I'm going to be flying back Sunday morning. So we'll get on Sunday night. You'll have the show there. You can watch it live. You can watch it the next day, however you choose to do it. There will be 2 shows this week, like always. But one last time for anybody out there, again, Ball State partners with the Shop Indy. Use that code BSUnion at checkout to get free shipping. Again, celebrate this Victory Sunday. Buy some Ball State merch. Use code BSUnion and get free shipping. So we appreciate everyone watching out there today. Go enjoy your Sunday. Go Colts. Go whoever you cheer for in the NFL. Enjoy your day. Keep chirping, and we'll be back on Wednesday to talk about UConn and all things Ball State football. So until then, chirp, chirp. We'll see you guys on Wednesday.
Chirp, chirp.